Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys Football. We have some massive news in the 2023 NFL Draft as the Chicago Bears have traded down from that number one overall spot all the way to 9 with the Carolina Panthers, and they got an absolutely massive haul. And we've been saying this, the Chicago Bears, it makes too much sense for them not to trade down, and they were kind of waiting their turn, waiting for the right offer. I thought it might take a couple more weeks at least, kind of hearing out all the offers, but I don't blame them for taking this offer. Now, talking about the offer, before we get into it, I just want to say thank you to you guys again. The support you guys have shown throughout NFL draft season means a lot. And we love making these mock drafts. We love talking with fans from different NFL teams about where they want to go with this team. And the Chicago Bears have been a team we've talked about a lot, and you guys have shown a lot of support. So we do appreciate that. And if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. But more importantly, let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this trade, and then how do you want to approach the next couple of years, and specifically this 2023 NFL Draft. Let's start with the trade and our thoughts on the trade. I think, recapping it, they trade that number one overall pick for 9 this year, 61 this year, a first round pick in 2024, a second round pick in 2025. And then Adam Schefter was so funny. He squeaks in DJ Moore as well. Like, as if that's like an insignificant part of this trade. DJ Moore, in my opinion, is a top 12 wide receiver in the NFL who was kind of withering away for Carolina, but he's a bona fide wide receiver one. And you talk about building around Justin Fields, figuring out if he's the guy for the Bears moving forward. DJ Moore is going to go a long way in helping that out. So the two things I want to kind of note: one, they get a ton of draft capital to build around Justin Fields, but they also situate themselves really well in 2024 and 2025. So if Justin Fields is not the guy, they have picks to potentially move up and go get a Caleb Williams next year, a Drake May next year. But that being said, if you guys have been following us, like, I'm a Justin Fields believer. I think how he looked and how he made that Bears offense move the ball a little bit with the little talent he had surrounding him was extremely impressive. I loved him out of Ohio State. I think he's the guy, but it does give the Bears some wiggle room to move on if they need to. Now, taking a look at where you want Chicago to go now, we'll kind of fire up this draft, but what you're most excited for Chicago is it's looking like four quarterbacks are going to be taken in the top 10. And so that means that pushes down a lot of really good prospects to that Bears pick at number 9. And you take a look at who's on the board. I think Christian Gonzalez would be a phenomenal get. And you even take a look, and guys like Will Anderson fall into 6. I'm not saying Will Anderson or Jalen Carter will make it to 9, but the point is there's going to be a lot of good players that are falling to pick 9 for the Chicago Bears. Now, if you're asking me, and I'm Ryan Poles, who is from my city, he is a ROC boy, where you want to go, I'm taking a look at Paris Johnson Jr. You want to surround Justin Fields with weapons and talent, but it's also extremely important that you surround Justin Fields with protection as well. Paris Johnson Jr. kind of fits what the Chicago Bears want to do. You want to be able to run the football. He's the best run blocker in this class, but he's also a freak athlete, and I think he has some stuff to clean up in pass protection, but I think with the tools that he has athletically as a former top 10 guy out of high school, he's athletic enough. He's got the length to be a phenomenal pass protector as well. So you're not only getting a dude who's going to be phenomenal in the run game, but also going to be a solid pass protector at the next level. And in terms of tackles that can be all pros, Paris Johnson Jr. has by far the highest ceiling in this class. Like, Peter Skoronski's very good, probably has better tape than Paris Johnson Jr. But in terms of ceiling, in terms of how good he can be at the next level, I think Paris Johnson Jr. has him edged out. And so when you're taking a look at the pick number 9, you're getting the best offensive tackle in this class who's going to be able to help in the run game, but also be nails and pass protection as well. And that tackle group, I think you're not going to get a look at another good tackle at pick 54 if Darnell Wright's not on the board and you see him go already in this mock here. 54, Felix Anudike-Uzomah, Tommy Adebawore would be two guys that would make a lot of sense here. You want to improve that edge rushing class, and a guy like Tyree Wilson or Myles Murphy would also make sense at pick number 9, but I kind of wanted to center that pick around building around Justin Fields. At 54, you're going to have a look at a lot of good edge rushers, and you see the two guys that I'm highest on. Let's take a look at this whole class in general. Felix Anudike-Uzomah is probably the most productive edge rusher that we've seen, but Tommy Adebawore, what he did in the combine, you also feel really good about. Felix Anudike-Uzomah did not test at the combine, but I think he'll test extremely well at Kansas State's Pro Day. So I'm probably going Felix Anudike-Uzomah, but again, hometown kid from Northwestern, that would make a lot of sense, but go get the player who's who's been better at college football, been better on the college football field. This is a guy that's really good in terms of winning with speed on the outside, but he also has the power to go through tackles. He's phenomenal against the run. Felix Anudike-Uzomah, probably the more complete prospect and probably a guy that can impact this team a little bit quicker. Now, pick 61, another pick that you got in this trade. Maybe you're looking at wide receiver here. I mean, you have Chase Claypool, you have DJ Moore, maybe a guy that you can kind of throw on in the inside as well. Could be a spot you're looking at. So let's take a look at this wide receiver class, and I got to find that position here. 61. Michael Wilson's a guy that I really like. A.T. Perry's a guy that if you guys know me, you know I love Tank Dell. You get the concerns, right? He's 165 pounds, but you pull up his profile and what he's done, and this again goes to giving guys that just makes Justin Fields' life easier. He is so good at creating separation and winning early in the route tree, and that is what Justin Fields wants to do. He wants to get the ball out of his hands quickly. He's an accurate thrower. He did that very well at Ohio State. I think that's what you're going to want to do with Justin Fields at the NFL level too. And you see the production is there. I mean, 12 touchdowns and 1,300 yards in 2021, 1,400 yards and 17 touchdowns in 2022. He stayed healthy, which is one of the bigger concerns. But the one question you have is 165 pounds. That being said, you saw him at the Senior Bowl. This dude wins off the line of scrimmage like nobody else in this draft class. You can put him on the inside. He also played the boundary as well. He's much better than you give him credit for, winning those contested catches as well. He's only 165 pounds, but he plays bigger. I think Tank Dell's a phenomenal pick. And even if you have the concerns about him getting off the line of scrimmage, he's too quick. The short area quicks that this dude has, like, I don't think people are going to eat him up at the line of scrimmage at all either. And he's just going to make his Justin Fields' life a little bit easier. Carl Brooks is another guy that if you want to fix the defensive line, man, do I love me some Carl Brooks. You take a look at what Carl Brooks has done. He's one of my favorite guys in this class. A 23.8% pass rush win rate, 49 total hurries. The interesting thing about him is he's lined up kind of outside the tackle he's played like that 5 technique at Bowling Green. And that was just kind of a product of, I'm the best player on this team. You're going to put him in a spot where he can dominate the most. He's also very good against the run, but he's 300 pounds. He's probably going to play on the inside, but his quickness and bend off the line of scrimmage that he developed from playing edge, I think is going to translate on the inside. He has the strength to hold up in the run game. If you're looking for an impact player on the defensive line that can be versatile, play that 3 tech, I think you could also play him kind of a nose tackle 1 technique as well too. He's a guy that's going to impact the pass rush. He's going to be good in the run game. I think Carl Brooks is worth getting on the defensive side of the ball. And again, you're getting that defensive line a lot better with a dude like Felix Anudike-Uzomah and Carl Brooks from Bowling Green. 103 now. One position that maybe you're looking at here, if you're the Chicago Bears, taking a look at their depth chart, taking a look at potential free agents, and Michael Wilson here at 103 would make a lot of sense. I think Travius Hodges-Tomlinson would make a lot of sense as well. This is kind of where the sweet spot is for the running backs, though, and you want to run the football. If you're the Chicago Bears, you kind of have your selection. I like a lot of these guys at this round. Tank Bigsby's another guy that you're kind of hoping. You kind of get sniped here, right? Wow, the 49ers going 2 running backs with Tank Bigsby and Tajay Spears. I don't think they would do that in real life. Those guys I like a lot too, but taking a look at this running back group, there is a lot of guys that you like a lot. And when you kind of take a look at, are you going to sign back David Montgomery or go get a cheaper running back? This running back class, this is the class for NFL teams to, if you don't want to pay the veteran running back, go get a rookie, use him for 4 years, because this running back class is absolutely loaded. My favorite group, or my favorite of the bunch, is probably Eric Gray. He's a guy that where he excels is at the next level. He makes people miss exceptionally well, like clean miss. He's extremely elusive, but he also is like much bigger than you think he is. Like 211 pounds. I think he has the ability to be a workhorse in an NFL backfield. He's very good out of the backfield as well, catching the football. Eric Gray is a top 5 running back on my board. And so right here at pick at the beginning of round 4, I think Eric Gray makes a lot of sense here. And you can kind of save some money and maybe not get David Montgomery back, who was good, but just struggled with injuries. And I think this is the class where the Chicago Bears are in that perfect situation where it's like you don't really want to invest in kind of a middle of the pack running back 1. Go get a rookie who you can use a lot. Khalil Herbert from Virginia Tech is another dude I really like. I think you'll be just fine with that running back situation. Pick 133. I'm going to go and see if my guy is here. He's not. Andrew Voorhees would be my guy at 133 if you want to kind of develop someone on the inside. I also think this part of the draft makes a lot of sense to look at some of the tackles that are still here and some swing tackles who can play on the inside as well. Not really a guy that's jumping out at you here either. I think maybe linebacker could be another position that you're taking a look at 133, and you see a lot of good linebackers here. Dorian Williams is a really interesting cat from Tulane, tested extremely well. I know a lot of people like him. He's not my linebacker of choice, but you take a look at what he's done. He ran a great 40. He's a good athlete for someone who's 230 pounds. He's all over the football field. He's really good against the run, but he's also really good in coverage. Like, he's a good athlete with some long arms, and that's kind of what you're looking for with these modern day NFL linebackers. You have to be able to carry tight ends up the seam. You have to be able to go tackle running backs in the flat in space. Dorian Williams is a guy that I think can do that. And I think would make a lot of sense at pick 133. Maybe a developmental guy, but again, you're probably not winning a Super Bowl year one, or not year one, but in 2023 with the Chicago Bears. And then I know we got Felix Anudike-Uzomah. I know we got Carl Brooks, but Moro Ajomo is a top 75 player on my board. This dude, he's a little bit undersized and kind of like Carl Brooks, can play all over the defensive line. And you look at addressing that defensive line, Moro Ajomo is going to be a guy. I don't love the idea of taking 3 defensive linemen in this class and Felix Anudike, Carl Brooks, and Moro Ajomo, but holy smokes, is Moro Ajomo just worth the pick here at 137? Going back, you probably are, if you have Moro Ajomo on your board, if you have Carl Brooks on your board, maybe you're going somewhere else with that edge class with the second round pick. But I really do like Moro Ajomo. In terms of, that's actually an interesting talking point right now, is I really like some of these edge guys. KJ Henry, Colby Wooden, I really like. Even getting down the list, Alani Phelps from Kansas. So if you're maybe thinking there's some guys who I think can be year one impact dudes in day 3 from that edge position, even as a guy like Zach Harrison, I would add to that list. So if you want to wait on addressing that defensive line until this pick, I think that would make a lot of sense. Now, we've already kind of addressed edge. I wouldn't mind taking a look at this cornerback class too, because I wouldn't kind of want to get a cornerback. Jacorian Bennett, I don't know what was in Maryland's water down there, but they tested extremely well at the kind. No, I'm not accusing them of cheating. I'm just saying they tested extremely well. That's a position that you probably want to add some depth when you take a look at who they got. I mean, Kyler Gordon, I think Kyler Gordon is going to be good, but adding some more young talent at that cornerback spot, Jacorian Bennett being another guy who has all the traits to be an NFL caliber cornerback, I think that would make a lot of sense there. Yeah, I actually, looking back on this line, I'm happy we addressed that defensive line because that needed to get better. Needed to get better quickly. So I'm actually okay with how much we addressed the defensive line. So that'll do it for the draft. Let's see how PFF graded us. We went pretty chalky with PFF's ranking, so they'll probably give us a pretty good grade here. But again, you look at where Chicago needs to get better. I think they need to get better on both sides of the trenches. Tevin Jenkins, I think, is going to be awesome at guard. And so now you got Paris Johnson, too. I think the run game is going to get better. You get your young running back, too. But again, this defensive line really struggled for Chicago, and we made it a lot better with some of my favorite defensive line prospects in this 2023 NFL draft. Chicago Bears greatest out. Let's see. We're loading. They're thinking. B- for Paris Johnson Jr. I'm higher on Paris Johnson Jr. than most people. Like, he's a top 12 prospect on my board. And if you can get a future, this guy can be a 10-year starter at left tackle for the Chicago Bears. And I think when you have the chance to do that with the number 9 overall pick, I think you go up and do it. Felix Anudike-Uzomah was a phenomenal pick at pick 54. He's a top 40 guy on my board. I think he should certainly be in the consideration for a first round pick. You get him at 54, makes a lot of sense. Your pass rush gets better. Your run stopping gets better. Tank Dell is good. I'm very interested to see where Tank Dell falls. Like, at 61, you'll have a look at some wide receivers. And I think Michael Wilson from Stanford is not a bad pick. I think A.T. Perry from the Bears is not a bad pick. But Tank Dell seems to fit what you're trying to do a little bit more, especially in terms of what you want Justin Fields. Tank Dell is going to be a quarterback's best friend. He's going to create separation early in that route tree. And so getting Justin Fields the ability to get the ball out of his hands quick to a playmaker like Tank Dell makes a lot of sense. Carl Brooks, that's another guy that you can line him up 3-tech. You could even put him at edge, and he's going to be really good. He's going to impact the passer, and it's a passing league, and getting pass rush makes a lot of sense. He's a guy that's a top 50 dude on my board. So at 64, I think that makes sense. Eric Gray, they give us an F again. Eric Gray is another player that I like a lot more than most. Dorian Williams, solid A. Moro Jomo, solid A. And Jacorian Bennett. Moro Jomo, in terms of if you want to pass on Carl Brooks and get someone like Moro Jomo at pick 137, I would not argue one bit with you. Moro Jomo is one of my favorite guys in this draft class. That'll do it for a 2023 NFL mock draft for the Chicago Bears. They traded down. They got a ton. This team looks to be poised to get this franchise off the ground here because they have a lot of future capital. They have a lot of guys that you feel good about. When you have a number one overall pick and you have your quarterback of the future, you can start doing some serious damage. I know it's been a tough couple of years for the Bears, but it does seem like we're getting better in the future. So again, appreciate you guys for checking us out. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.